Before we start the program, a request from all of us. Kindly put your phone on silent so that when ma'am is delivering her memorial lecture, we are able to hear her clearly. Give me a thumbs up if everyone has put your phone on silent. Thank you, everyone. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. A quote by Nelson Mandela. Truly defines a great leader, a fantastic teacher, and the architect of preschool reforms, which is Dr. Professor Ram Joshi. A very good morning to one and all present here. I, Ms. Bhakti Gala, faculty of SIS Institute of Comprehensive Education, on behalf of SIES, like we call it, and the entire SIES family, would like to welcome everyone present here for the 25th Ram Joshi Memorial Lecture. It gives me immense pleasure to extend heartiest welcome to our chief guest, Dr. Rita Patnaik, Joint Director, ECCE, National Institute of Public Cooperation and Child Development, Ministry of Women and Child Development, New Delhi. I would like to welcome the dignitaries on the dais. Shri S.V. Vishwanathan Sir, Managing Council Member, Dr. Uma Shankar, of SIS, Managing Council Members, Shri Ganesh Sir, Venkat Sir, Vice Principals of the college, special invitees and guests, Dr. Asha Menon Ma'am, Principal of SNDT Women's College, Ghatkopar, students of SNDT, faculty and other students of SIS ICE, and others who are physically and virtually present with us on YouTube for this August gathering. We begin today's program by invoking the blessings of the Almighty, who has been helping us and guiding us in various ways. To seek the blessings of Almighty, I would like to call upon Ms. Riya Shah, student of Postgraduate Diploma in Early Childhood Education.
Good morning, one and all. Good morning, ma'am. So today I'm going to be presenting a prayer, Ekadantaya Vakratundaya. गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणाधीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि गानचतुराय गानप्राणाय गानान्तरात्मने गानोत्सुकाय गानमत्ताय गानोत्सुकमनसे गुरुपूजिताय गुरुदैवताय गुरुकुलस्थायिने गुरुविक्रमाय गुह्यप्रवराय गुरवे गुणगुरवे गुरुदैत्यकलक्षेत्रे गुरुधर्मसदाराध्याय गुरुराखण्ड खण्डकाय गीतसाराय गीततत्त्वाय गीतगोत्राय धीमहि गूढगुल्फाय गन्धमत्ताय गोजयप्रदाय धीमहि गुणाधीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि ईशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि. Thank you.
Thank you, Ria, for this lovely rendition. May I now invite Dr. Uma Shankar, Principal of SIS College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Sion West, to formally welcome our chief guest.
Good morning. Extremely happy to welcome the Ram Joshi family, Anupama Joshi, Vidyanand Joshi, our guest speaker for the day, Dr. Rita Patnaik, our managing council member, Mr. S. Vishwanathan, and the other members who have joined us today. Asha Menon, a special invitee. Members of the SIS College, SNDT, University, colleagues, and dear students. Extremely happy to welcome each one of you for, if I can say, a much awaited program at SIS is Ram Joshi Memorial Lecture. Time flies. It's been 25 years, and we can't believe that the best way SIS thought is to pay homage to a person who has been a passionate teacher in this institute, which stands tall today for the last 60 years. He has been one of those earlier teachers who taught political science in this college. Later on, he occupied the seat of head of the institute principal of this college. And much later, he also moved as vice chancellor of Mumbai University. I can recall, sir, with two passionate things with which he was much involved. One, he was interested in education so much so that he traveled so much in his career itself. And he was the brainchild behind the ICE today that stands and delivering an important task of creating new teachers, creating teaching faculty who would be the agents of change and agents of transformation. Today, if we talk about education and we have a lot of questions in our mind, what kind of students are we bringing out? The teachers are the one who are actually molding it. And at SIS, we had one of those great stalwarts who have taught us, me being also the alma mater of this college, all the more I can vouch for it. And that is what we want to give back to the society by creating wonderful teachers. And that task, I think, under the leadership of Dr. Vidya Satish at ICE has been doing it. And To me, the little memory that I have with Dr. Ram Joshi is the second passion. One was the education. The second was he was a Gandhian, in the sense that he was so much interested in Gandhian studies, and students across the globe have registered for PhD under him. And I remember sir coming back to the college even much later after retirement to the library and pick up a lot of books on Gandhi. And much later, ma'am, Mr. Joshi had come, donated more than hundreds and hundreds of books also, which we have put it separately as a Ram Joshi cupboard. What all the things that he has left it. I think a great teacher, a great administrator, and beyond that, a wonderful human being that Ram Joshi was. Today, we have the greatest honor and privilege, blessed to pay homage by inviting those kind of people who are also part of this transition, this transformation that we talk about. I'm once again extremely happy to welcome Dr. Rita Patnaik, who's accepted our invite to deliver the 25th Ram Joshi Memorial Lecture. She herself occupies a very important position in the ministry and also trying to get two important areas in which she has been working with. A little dialogue that I had in the morning today, that the striving hard through the Anganwadi, through the education, through creating this kind of change in the people, and also connected to the Women Development Cell. I think her talk today will help us to carry a lot of message home, and I presume definitely that all of us will have a wonderful time listening to the lecture. Thank you, ma'am, once again for inviting. And all those who have joined virtually through the YouTube, I once again welcome each one of you. I would be happy if more number are also occupied the auditorium. Thank you, Joshi family, once again for your presence. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now call upon my colleague, Ms. Kavita Krishnamurthy, Faculty of SIS Institute of Comprehensive Education, to say a few words about Professor Dr. Ram Joshi.
Thank you, Bhakti. Good morning, everyone. We gather today to honor the life and legacy of Professor Ram Joshi, a distinguished academician whose contribution to education are immeasurable. His name is synonymous with excellence, innovation, and a deep-rooted commitment to nurturing young minds. Professor Joshi's tenure as principal of SIS College of Arts, Science and Commerce marked a golden era in the institution's history. Under his visionary leadership, the college rapidly of excellence in higher learning. His expertise, coupled with his innovative approach, guided the college towards unprecedented success. His strategic guidance was instrumental in shaping the educational landscape, benefiting colleges, teachers, and students alike. Beyond his academic pursuits, Professor Joshi's dedication to education extended to a broader community. His election as chairman of the Corporation Education Committee during his time on the Bombay Municipal Corporation led to significant reforms in primary education. He championed the cause of free education and ensured that teachers were adequately compensated for their invaluable contributions. Professor Joshi's intellectual prowess was widely recognized. He was awarded the prestigious uh, degree in literature by Osmania University and held the esteemed position of Professor Emeritus at the Y.B. Chavan Maharashtra Open University. His academic accomplishments were a testament to his profound knowledge and unwavering commitment to scholarship. But perhaps most importantly, Professor Joshi was a teacher who inspired and touched the lives of countless students. His passion for teaching was in had a captivating effect on his audience. He went beyond the textbooks, imparting wisdom and life lessons that resonated long after the classroom doors closed. Early childhood education held a special place in Professor Joshi's heart. He was a pioneer in preschool education reforms, advocating for innovative approaches that have garnered widespread attention. His leadership of the Bal Shikshan Parishad movement solidified his legacy as a champion of young children's education. On September 14, 1998, Professor Joshi passed away, leaving behind a void that can never be filled. However, his memory lives on through the countless lives he touched and the enduring impact of his work. The SIES organization continues to honor his legacy through annual lectures on educational topics, ensuring that his vision for education remains a guiding light. As we gather today to remember Professor Joshi, let us celebrate his extraordinary life and the profound contributions he made to the field of education. May his spirit of excellence, innovation, and compassion continue to inspire future generation of educators and learners. May I now call the esteemed guests on the dais to now offer floral tribute to Professor Joshi's photo.
May I also request members of the Ram Joshi family to pay floral tributes to picture of Professor Dr. Ram Joshi. We request the vice principals and special invitees to also pay for floral tributes to the picture of Professor Ram Joshi. Thank you to the members on the dais, members of the Ram Joshi family and the special invitees. I would like to now invite Dr. Vidya Satish, Director of SIS Institute of Comprehensive Education, to introduce our chief guest for today's event, Dr. Rita Patnaik.
Thank you, Bhakti. A very good morning to members on the dais. Dr. Rita Patnaik, the speaker of the day. Shri S.V. Vishwanathan, our managing council member. Shri Ganesh, our managing council member. Principal of SIS College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Dr. Uma Shankar. Professor Ram Joshi's family members, Ms. Anupama and Mr. Vidyanand Joshi, niece and nephew of Professor Joshi. I really miss Mrs. Joshi today. Otherwise, should have always been there here, but I'm sure she's there somewhere watching this program. Vice principals of SIS College, heads of department, special invitees, Dr. Asha Menon, members from our sister institutions, as well as our purchase team, Mr. Venkat, esteemed invitees from various other educational institutions, invited guests, and people watching on YouTube, and our dear students. A very warm welcome, good morning to each and every one of you. Today, we solemnly remember Professor Ram Joshi, a distinguished figure who dedicated his life to quality education, particularly, as everybody said, in the field of early childhood education. Those who had the honor of studying under Professor Joshi recall him as somebody who was an extremely dignified person with a stature, with a style that attracted so much attention, love, and warmth, and of course, admiration. His visionary recommendations for quality early childhood education transcended class and community barriers that paved into so many new educational reforms today that we are seeing. His inspiring motivation and commitment to quality early childhood education continues to uplift each and every one of us, especially those who are working in the field of early childhood education. 25 years have gone since Professor Joshi moved on. But we at SIES remember him in particular on they've all been a fitting tribute to Professor Joshi's grandeur as he was a champion of education. This 25th year ought to be special, and we wanted to bring a special person to deliver this memorial lecture. Who else but Dr. Rita Patnaik? The first time I heard her, I was mesmerized with her passion. I listened to her talk in one of the webinars, and I really thank ECCE for sending that information so we could see data. And it was such a wonderful speech that we gave. So we thought that we must bring her to SIES. And after a couple of messages and just a phone call, she consented so graciously, so warmly, and so much with love. It was yesterday when we had dinner together, it really felt like I was meeting an old friend, and we chatted so much as though it was not that the first time that we are seeing each other. Such a warm and friendly person, despite her stature today, despite her experiences, despite her work at the national level, she was so down to earth, and we really felt she's a friend who's come to meet us, though it was the first time. Thank you for your gracious acceptance, ma'am. And so it gives me immense pride and pleasure to introduce Dr. Rita Patnaik to you. Dr. Rita Patnaik serves as the Joint Director at the National Institute of Public Cooperation and Child Development, NIPSIT, under the Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India, New Delhi. She oversees several key divisions at NIPSIT. A trailblazer in early childhood education, Dr. Patnaik is dedicated to the safety and empowerment of women, as well as international safety. She earned her doctorate in maternal and child nutrition from the University of Delhi. Her previous roles include research scientist at the Nutrition Foundation of India, New Delhi, and her senior research fellow at GB Pant Agricultural University and Technology, Pantnagar, Uttarakhand. She has been with NIPSED since the year 2011. With over 24 years of experience in women and child development, Dr. Patnaik has organized more than 150 training programs nationally and has conducted extensive research and documentation in this field. She has significant experience working with the Integrated Child Development Scheme, the ICDS systems, and Anganwadis, focusing on health, nutrition, and early childhood care and education. Recently, Dr. Patnaik led the Poshan Bhi Padhai Bhi initiative of the Ministry of Women and Child Development, which involves training of Anganwadi workers and ICDS functionaries. She developed framework and training materials for this initiative, and she's played a very, very crucial role in implementation across the states through NIPSID regional centers. Dr. Patnaik, yes, I think she's fantastic job she's done. She also serves as a member secretary of the internal committee and working group responsible for finalizing Nav Chetna, which is the National Framework for Early Childhood Stimulation from Birth to 3 Years, 2024, and Aadar Sheila, National Curriculum for Early Childhood Care and Education, 3 to 6 years, 2024. So we have someone who's really worked on the NEP, who's worked on the National Curriculum Framework. We have only seen it in documents and books, but we have someone live here who's going to share her thoughts about this, and we are so grateful for her presence today. Among her other achievements, she led the capacity building program for elected women representatives of Panchayati Raj institutions in the year 2018-19, and she received the Best Worker Award for all her contributions. What can be more befitting than having Dr. Patnaik, somebody like her, delivering the 25th Professor Ram Joshi Memorial Lecture? A passionate crusader for early years education, somebody who's working at the national level, someone who's working with grassroots level workers, doing so many projects related to early childhood care and education. Stalwarts like Dr. Patnaik are indeed inspiring to young students like you all. We welcome Dr. Patnaik once again to SIES, and thank you for being here on this momentous occasion of the 25th Memorial Lecture and delivering the 25th Professor Ram Joshi Memorial Lecture, Building Strong Foundations, Early Childhood Care and Education in India. We look forward to your lecture today, ma'am, so that there will be a lot of takeaways for each and every one of us here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I would now request the member on the dais to please felicitate our chief guest for today, Dr. Rita Patnaik. May I request Shri S.V. Vishwanathan sir to felicitate our chief guest with a bouquet handmade by Ms. Lakshmi Shiv Kumar, faculty of SIES ICE. May I request Dr. Uma Shankar ma'am to please felicitate Dr. Rita with a shawl. May I request Shri S.V. Vishwanathan sir to present seeds and chocolates to our chief guest. As a tradition, we felicitate our chief guest with a plant. But since ma'am has to travel back to Delhi, we thought instead of plants, we'll give her seeds herself. May I ask Dr. Vidya Satish to felicitate our chief guest with a painting made by our student, Ms. Shweta Shivraman, and a thank you card made by our student, Hanusha Kodal. Please give a bigger round of applause to Dr. Rita Patnaik. Okay. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all, said Aristotle. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all, said Aristotle. We preschool teachers truly believe and strive NEP 2020 visualizes the promotion of holistic growth and active learning capabilities of children. The ACER report 2022 too highlights the importance of building a strong foundation in early years for better future of children. Our chief guest today, Dr. Rita Patnaik, too believes in laying a strong foundation for children for a strong nation. Ma'am is very passionate, like Dr. Vidya Satish said, and I had the pleasure to interact with her yesterday when I went to pick her up from the airport. The whole journey, like ma'am said, we kept talking, and what a passionate teacher, educator she is. So I would like to invite Dr. Rita Patnaik to deliver the much awaited 24th Professor Dr. Ram Joshi Memorial Lecture on building strong foundations, early childhood care and education in India. Over to you, ma'am.
Vakratunda Mahakaya, Suryakoti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kurume Deva, Sarvakarya Shukarmana. So, what an occasion for me to be here. I think so. I'm very lucky that I've come on this auspicious occasion when Ganesh Puja is going on. So, I'm very lucky. So, all the dignitaries on the dais were there. The Ram Joshi Memorial family members from Dr. Ram Joshi's this thing. All the students here. Thank you so much for providing me this opportunity. And I think so it's a very great privilege for me to be, right? To be standing here in front of you for this memorial lecture. I am basically from the National Institute of Public Cooperation and Child Development, which is under the aegis of Ministry of Women and Child Development. And we, as an institute, we have started in 1966. But from 1975, since ICDS is on, we have been given, given the this thing capacity so that we Anganwadi workers training and completely all the training of ICDS officials that is being taken care by NIPSID. It could be your CDPOs, Child Development Project Officers, your DPOs, and for the Anganwadi and MLTCs, Anganwadi Training Centers and middle years, which no function. Some of them are there. So you'll see that there is a wide gap in training of Anganwadi workers over the years. And with the major services of ICDS in place, supplementary nutrition has always been the foundation where we have been known for our supplementary nutrition. It could be your Khichdi Didi or anything, the Dalia Didi or Dalia Center, whatever it is, we are known for that. But now with the national education policy, we are lucky that the preschool education, which was an important service of ICDS, is now being recognized so far so that even the Anganwadi workers will be benefited from it, right? So going into this, the topic for my presentation is building strong foundation, ECCE in India. So all of us are here, a little bit of background behind the genesis and other things, and then we'll move forward with the latest policy from the government of India. So all of us are aware of our scriptures, right? And we have been hearing stories about Abhimanyu. In the last trimester when Subhadra was there and, Arjuna telling her about how to break the Chakravyuh. And we know the story about it. But evidence also suggests that the child can hear from the 18 weeks of pregnancy. Right from 18 weeks, the child is able to hear all the internal functions, the sounds, whatever the mother is going on, the child is able to hear that, right? And from the second week of pregnancy, actually the ears and they start developing. And by 18 weeks, the child is able to hear. So do we understand that, right? That is so very important, child development, that the child is already listening to you right from the womb. So one of the main things for going into ECCE, not from 0 to 3 years, but it is right from conception till 6 years of age, which we should consider. And Garbh Sanskar, what we all know, that has been an integral part of our this thing, because our scriptures have so much to say about Garbh Sanskar. And it is important that the mother, interacts with the child in the womb also. It's very important that the mother talks to the child. And if she talks, the child hears also. And it is very important that both nutrition and stimulation can start happening right from pregnancy onwards. And you can see that all mother's nutrition, thoughts, emotions, and all these have a great impact on the child. So how do we make the environment so conducive for the mother so that she has good nutrition, she has got a good environment where to the child. In fact, I had done my PhD on maternal nutrition, right? So I got an opportunity to be in Defense Colony Maternity Home, where I had to study nearly 3,000 pregnancies. And my topic was to assess the effect of nutrition on the placental growth and then the birth weight, right? Through the placenta, the nutrients are transferred. So if your placental weight is good, in higher birth weight. So you can see the importance of how important nutrition is, and not only in terms of nutrition and birth weight of the baby, but when it comes to the brain of the baby also, you will find that your immediately after conception, right? Immediately after conception, within 14 days, the neural tube is formed or the neural plate is formed within 14 days. And in our country, the mother even doesn't know that she is pregnant, right? Till she misses her first period, she some of them even they don't have that idea that they are, and by the time they know, already this neural tube has been formed. And for the formation of this neural tube, nutrition is very, very important. Where we talk of iron and folic acid. Where we talk of folic acid deficiency, it could lead to neural tube defects in the child, right? Immediately, even at the 14th day, if the mother is folic acid deficient, it could lead to spina bifida or any other complications during pregnancy for neural tube defects. So talking about ECCE is not from 0 or birth, but it is very important that we talk right from pregnancy onwards, where even if you go for a planned pregnancy, it is much more better, right? In India, there are very few planned pregnancies. Mostly they are unplanned pregnancies, and due to which, the neural plate formation, there is always problem in the neural plate formation. You can see that the neural plate is formed 2 weeks, and then by the 5th week, you can see there are nearly 250,000 neurons per minute production. And by 5 key regions which are formed for the brain formation, already they are being formed. They are being formed by this time. So a lot is being talked about brain development, right? We all say that 85% brain development occurs by the age of 6 years, but 75% is already completed by 3 years. And most of us miss on it. बच्चे तो ऐसे ही बड़े हो जाते हैं, right? We don't even think of that time when we are giving any sort of education, any kind of stimulation or responsive caregiving. That is where what we are living. Caregiving is there, but the word for today's complete thing is your responsive caregiving, which will make so much of difference in the life of a child. You can see this the brain size is around 350 to 400 grams, and an adult brain size is around 1.2 kgs, right? All of us have this 1.2 kgs over our head. And now this brain size certainly depends on the nutrients, where we talk about folic acid, we talk about omega-3 fatty acids and other important nutrients in the formation of the brain. But stimulations are also equally important for this brain development in terms of synapses or neurons, which we'll talk upon in the later slide. You can see that the brain size doubles in the first year. and reaches nearly 80% of adult size by the age of 3. At birth, the brain grows 1% per day for the first 3 months. This can never happen in your life. Any time in your life, you cannot even imagine this thing. If you see, in fact, if you see the first 3 years, it's not only mental but also physical growth. A baby, if it is born at 2.5 kgs by birth, it is normally said that it has to double its birth weight by 6 months and triple its birth weight by the end of 1 year. Can we think of anybody for us now? Suppose I am 55 kgs. Can I think that by next 6 months I'll be 110 kgs or 150? Never again. So you can understand how important these initial ages of life, where maximum physical and mental development. It could be your in terms of your length, or it could be your weight. Everything is at its peak during the initial ages. This is all about the brain development in the initial years, where we talk about the synapse formation and the synapse pruning, which is very, very important. Your mass may be high, but is there enough branching of those neurons? What makes me different from Ambani ji or Modi ji or each one of us sitting? All of us, we have a skeleton, right? And we have bone mass, we have skeleton, we have muscle mass, fat mass. Everything is same. But what differentiates all of us? What is that? What is that? It is actually the synapses. It is only the connections that make different, to feel different, to think different. It is only those synapses connections which are formed, which differentiates all of us. So if you see for sensory pathways and other things, you can see that it could be cognitive, it could be language, it could be sensory pathways. All these things, they are maximum or they reach their peak during the early initiation life years. You can see all these things happening in the first few years of life. So how do these connections actually happen? Cues from the environment. We pick up from the environment. We send signals to the brain. The brain forms the pathways. It could be through your positive caregiver interaction also. Right, in the initial years, we think that, suppose domestic violence is there at home, and the child is 3 months or 3 years, and you feel that बच्चा छोटा है, कुछ पता नहीं चल रहा है, but it is not that way. The child is, it's like a sponge. It is receiving everything. He cannot tell, but those are there in his brain, somewhere down the brain. Everything is being embedded. So it is very important that we take care. If there is a small child at home, especially, we have to be very, very careful, because he will absorb immediately. It could be positive, it could be negative also. Everything he will attract. So positive interactions, they lead to your security, being loved and other things. And similarly, negative interactions, neglect, abuse, they can cause stress and trauma. Similarly, meeting needs and safety. You see, for 2.5 years, a baby, mummy ke mother ke paas se jata nahi hai. Even if the mother goes little bit, he'll start crying. Why? Because he has got that feeling that she is there to care for me, and he feels safe and secure. So the word care becomes so much important here, that it cannot be expressed. It can be only felt. And all of us, we have mothers, we are mothers, and we know that the place of a mother cannot be replaced by anybody else. Now coming to developmental milestones, which national education policy and everything is being talked upon. So when we are born only with few natural reflexes at birth, right? And one of the most beautiful reflex action which is seen in the child is the suckling reflex. If you see, when the child is born, the child cannot see, right? For few hours, he doesn't have a very proper, clear vision. But if you place him near the mother, immediately it will find the nipple, right? And it will start sucking. That means, that sucking reflex is highest during the first hour of birth. And that is why we say that it should be early initiation of breastfeeding. sucking reflex, and all these other reflexes you can see, palmar grabs, rooting, eye blink, Baldwinski, Moro, all these reflexes, they're only reflexes which are, they are all automatic at birth. And these reflexes now suddenly they get converted into milestones, which you see in the 0 to 3 years, which we call it as the absorption period, right? Absorption period is developing sensory vision, hearing, language, special and other cognitive abilities. And from the 3 to 6 years, these are much more visible. They are much more imprinted on one's life. So these are the few very, very basic slides, developmental milestones slides, because all of us, I think so, we don't remember any one of us. Do you remember these milestones? Okay, which अगर मैं पूछूं आपसे कि आपको कौन सी एज आपको याद आ रही है सबसे, मतलब which, if you remember, which is the age which you can remember? Anybody? 3 years? Okay. 3 years is good. Which age do you remember? अपने आप को आप सबसे छोटे वर्षन में कब आपकी याददाश्त जा रही है? 5 years? 6 years? Most of us, maybe we will remember when, the first time when we went to the school and someone leaving us, or, that kind of impression all of us have. और उससे पहले we don't have those memories. But it doesn't mean that वो नहीं है, right? That is still there in your brain, what was there in the earlier years of life. And we have started our journey with 1 month where we started sucking, right, with the first reflex. And that time we all came with our wrists closed, right? Slowly, by the end of 2 or 3 months, the hands are straightened out. By the end of 4th month, the child transfers, holds. If you give a finger, it will start holding, grasping. Then by 5th month, it will start. If you give a toy from one hand to other, by the 4th, they will try to make the chair sit at the back. Neck, abhi bhi theek nahi hai. At the birth, always you have to give a support to the neck. By the end of 6 years, the neck straightens out. Then these are all the developmental milestones. You can see I've just listed down all of them. And by the 6 months, grabs and shakes objects, sits briefly without support. 9th month, you start crawling, right? And if you give something, he'll put in his mouth. By the 12th month, you can stand without support. 18th month, you're smart enough, you start running, right? At 4 months, you start climbing stairs. 30 months, you can climb down without support. And by the end of the 3 years, you are ready, right? You can ride a cycle. So we think that standard 1, standard 2, standard 10th is important, right? But we think that 10th pass ho gaya to bahut bada kaam kiya. But just imagine these milestones. These are much more important than those what you think on the later years. These are major milestones which the child has to pass. Even to run, even to sit, even to stand, all these things. So you can understand how important this age is. You start your life with coos, babbling, right? By the end of 1 year, you have simple words, and gradually 2 to 3 word sentences by the end of 3 years. So what could be a better journey than this? What an important journey. This is again 4, 5, and 6 years. I'll be restricting myself to 6 years only, right? So you can see the developmental milestones here, where gradually the life is becoming much more complex for the child, where we're talking about foundation literacy, numeracy, where we're talking about language, where we're talking about the 5 domains of development, right? And we are even thinking of the 5 C's of communication, which we want. So coming back to where we started, we have learnings from all the Indian philosophers here. It could be Mahatma Gandhi, Rabindranath Tagore, Sri Aurobindo, Gijubhai, Savitribai Phule, Jyoti Rao Phule. It would be Jiddu Krishnamurti or Maria Montessori or Tarabai Modak. And of course, Dr. Ram Joshi, including him. They all have emphasized on one fact, that the head, heart, and hand all should go together. We have to do learning through play and interaction. Aurobindo had said that natural environment is the biggest play for the child. Just leave him in an atmosphere where he can feel free. He can play in that. Emphasis on creativity and expression, holistic development of the girl child. For example, your Savitribai Phule and Jyotirao Phule, who have worked so much for the girl education and the under marginalized section, right? And early education imparted through mother tongue. This was one of the major recommendations by Tarak Bhai Modi. That is all their preachings and lessons, which has been, I think, so followed by the national education policy as well. Now, coming to national and international learnings, all of us have heard about the Heckman curve, right? If your early investment, what you do in the early years, it will give you lot of returns in your later life. So it is very important. They have told, he has said that there is a return of nearly 13% per annum through better outcomes on education, health, sociability, economic productivity, and others. And other research, they have also provided evidence that public investment in ECCE can produce returns to equally to 10 times. That is, if you invest 1 rupee on ECCE, the return will be 10 rupees. So you can just understand how important ECCE is. This is again a study which has been done in Vellore, in which an Indian cohort has been followed at 5 years, 9 years. And they have seen that those children who were given early childhood care and education, they were in the patterns at the age of 9. Similarly, we have seen the ACER report, which Bhakti was mentioning, where which says that almost 35% of children in class 1 cannot recognize numbers 1 to 9. Right? When they go to class 1, they don't even know letters. They are unaware of this. Almost 42% cannot recognize letters. Still. So now there is a need for a well-designed ECCE program and policy, which can produce high rates of return on a large scale across the full range of national incomes. So a lot is being talked about NEP 2020. SDG 4, all of us know that it talks about your quality education and universal provisioning of early childhood development, care and education. And this is achieved as soon as possible, not later than 2030. All of us know this. And the path-breaking recommendation of ECCE is that there is a need for appropriate stimulation in the early years of a child growth. ECCE must be multifaceted, inquiry-based, learning with loss on cognitive, psychomotor abilities, early literacy and numeracy. This is actually the key slide for NEP 2020, which actually differentiates with the earlier type of teachings and other things, where it has been said, especially for the 3 to 6 years, when we talk about it, with the 5+1 domains of development, there are 13 curricular goals associated with it, 68 competencies, 100 plus learning outcomes, and finally broken down into activities. Now, for instance, for an Anganwadi worker, this would be very text heavy, right? If we talk to them that, these are they understand about developmental domains, the first one and the last one. They know activities, and then they know the domains of development. But when it comes to the in-between things, it becomes very text heavy for them. So we have come up, Ministry of Women and Child Development, we have come up with the new document called as Adhar Shila, which has very much simplified all these facts for the Anganwadi worker to carry out preschool activities in the Anganwadi center. So this is the early childhood care and education continuum and foundation literacy, where you can see that for 0 to 3 years, if you see, it is primarily focused, mainly now it is home-based. Even at the Anganwadi system, the children don't come to the Anganwadi centers, right? If the mother sometimes brings, it's a different thing. Otherwise, usually it is the home visits which the Anganwadi workers does for 0 to 3 years for the take-home ration. Take-home ration and some nutrition advice what he does. Otherwise, it is basically at home. For the 3 to 6 years, it is your Anganwadi centers, preschools or Balvatikas. This is what is there for the preschool education, for cognitive, psychomotor, early numeracy and early literacy. And the 6 to 8 years is, of course, with the school. Now coming to our ministry, Ministry of Women and Child Development. We have started our journey. We have started since 1995 preschool education at the Anganwadi Center. But in 2013, we had a national ECCE policy for the children for Anganwadi centers. And in 2018, we had got the Saksham Anganwadi guidelines where we have mentioned about the preschool education components. In 2017, we had sent the worksheets and other things to the states, right? But with now 2020 national education policy in place and the national curriculum framework NCFFS 2022, there has been a remarkable change, and we can see that in the year 2023-24, it has been very, very remarkable for Ministry of Women and Child Development, mainly because we have come up with many schemes. One of them is Poshan Bhi, Padhai Bhi, which I'll be talking upon, right? We have got the Anganwadi protocol for Divyang children 2023. We have come up with the acute malnutrition protocol for community-based malnutrition. That is also there from the ministry. And finally, in 2024, we have come up with a framework for 0 to 3 years, that is your Navchetna, and a curriculum for 3 to 6 years, which is your Adharshila, right? Ministry is working with this, but similarly, education is also working on these aspects, because we have got private schools, we have got other schools where preschool education is going on. So these are some of the initiatives of DOSIL to achieve FLN based on NEP 2020 and NCFFS. First is Nipun Bharat, that is to achieve universal FLN in primary schools by 2025. Second is they have got a Balvatika program, right? That is a 1 year of preschool for children from 5 to 6 years. And for this, they have developed a module which is called as Unmukh module. This is only for 1 year training, 5 to 6 years. The third program is Vidya Pravesh, which is 3 months preparatory course before entry into any school. Now coming to the Anganwadi system. This is the world's largest provider of early childhood care services. And now with NEP 2020, our main thing is that to change the perception of the Anganwadi center from a nutrition center, from a Khichdi center or Dalia center to an education center or a vibrant ECCE learning center. And as on date, we have 13.9 lakh Anganwadi centers in the country. Can you imagine 13.9 lakh Anganwadi centers in the country, and over 1 lakh in Maharashtra. Over 1 lakh Anganwadi centers in Maharashtra itself, right? And the total children we are impacting in the country is 8 crore children in the age group of 0 to 6 years. That is 4 crore in 0 to 3 and 4 crore in 3 to 6 years. It's a huge population which we are catering to. And now the word Saksham Anganwadi. We are thinking vibrant ECCE learning centers. So we are thinking of having Wi-Fi connectivity, LED screens, pure water, audio-visual aids, Poshan, all the things together. We are thinking of converting Anganwadi centers into Saksham Anganwadis. Out of the 13.7 crore children in 0 to 6 years, 8 crore children are being dealt with Anganwadi centers. It's a huge number. Children who receive high quality ECCE are only 30% who receive, they are more likely to graduate from school. These are the studies which have been done. 40% less likely to repeat class 1, 2, 3, etc. So a lot of research has been done which emphasizes the importance of preschool education or early childhood care and education. Schools do not have the capacity to deliver ECCE at scale yet. This is the bare truth, right? Schools do not have the capacity, and Anganwadis are being still with a question mark whether they have the capability or not. So we have a lot to do. We have too many questions to be answered from the education department as well as the Ministry of Women and Child Development department. And maybe these questions will be answered only when, both the ministries sit together. Because, all of us are working in silos and there is no convergence. Good work is happening, but there is no convergence. That is why we don't have any data to see what is actually good and this thing. So it is only a beginning now. It has to just start upon. You can just think in Maharashtra itself, if there are more than 1 lakh Anganwadi centers, if every college, university thinks of, some collaborative research, action-oriented research at Anganwadi centers, you're thinking of providing good teachers, parenting, this thing, why not? You can handhold the Anganwadis also, so that it can make so much of a difference in the Anganwadis. So we have got a national ECCE curriculum framework. We have got the activity books which have been given. We have got a preschool education kit, which every Anganwadi center gets annually rupees 3,000 to produce an kit, right? From the school education, we have got the Jadui Pitara. Jadui, I hope you all might have seen the Jadui Pitara box with a box of full toys and other things, which has been given to this thing. So Anganwadi centers, they get a rupees 3,000 each for this kit at the Anganwadi centers. And one thing I would like to repeat here is that you get a computer, you get a toy, or you get anything from US or anything, that doesn't matter to a child, right? It doesn't matter to a child. It is how costly that nothing matters to a child. The child can even play with mud. The child can even play with a mug and balti at your home, right? And he enjoys those things only. And it is actually dependent on the caregiver. It is totally dependent on the caregiver who can make ECCE interesting. So any amount of toy, any amount of computer, anything won't work. It is only play-based pedagogy which can work with the child. So NIPSID, National Institute of Public Cooperation Child Development, we have been pioneering this initiative. Developed 2024 these two framework and curriculum, Navchetna and Adharshila. Now Navchetna and Adharshila, I'll come into that. These two documents are in total alignment with the National Education Policy and NCFFS 2022. For development of both this framework and curriculum, we have actually analyzed 16 state level curricula so that we understand the best practices. Even from Maharashtra, we have taken the 3A, Aramb, Akar, and Ankur model. We have seen that Maharashtra is the first state for initiating the 0 to 3 year simulation in the country with their Akar. So that is the model which we have incorporated in our document as well. We have taken Anganwadi training modules, and both the documents, what we have made it special is that we have Divyang inclusion in it, so that the Divyang component is duly incorporated in it. There are evaluation sheets, there are assessment tools for continuous and comprehensive evaluation. Coming to Navchetna, the first document. I request all of you to kindly visit the NIPSID website, right? It is there. In that, there is a tab called as National Repository for Toys, right? In that, if you click, you will get both the documents readily available, Navchetna and Adharshila. They are huge documents, so you'll have to download it. So please download both these documents. The first document is Navchetna, which is your national framework for early stimulation birth to 3 years. For development of both this framework and curriculum, we had got an internal committee. And the first recommendation what the committee gave was that we should have separate. We cannot mix 0 to 6 years in one. They should be demarcated as 0 to 3, which should be a framework, and 3 to 6, which would be a curriculum. Now, national framework. This framework, all of us know that responsive caregiving. There are only 3 ways by which we can impart responsive caregiving, and it is by the way of love, talk, and play. एक 3 साल के बच्चे को आप क्या पढ़ाओगे, है ना? 3 साल बच्चे को पढ़ाई किस तरीके से करवाओगे? It is only either through love, or you can talk to the child, or you can play to the child. And there are many principles of responsive caregiving in which you can see the serve and return. That is a kind, you throw it, you talk to the child responds back, or you give a toy to the child will respond back. And similarly, it is your responsive caregiving or positive guidance which is developed during this period. Now, the best part of the Navchetna document is that for every month wise, we have given stimulation activities. And there are nearly 160 activities listed in the Navchetna document. I would request all of you to kindly see the document. It will be helpful for all of you because month wise, we have given stimulation activities, what you can do to stimulate a 5-month-old child, 6-month-old child, 7-month-old child till 3 years of age. This is only one page as I put here. Otherwise, the document has got stimulation activities till 3 years of age. In the Poshan Abhiyan, we have this thing that, Anganwadi worker has to do only 18 visits, home visits from 0 to 2 years. 0 to 2 years. And first of all, I would like to congratulate all of you. We are having the 7th Rashtriya Poshan Ma going on this month, right? All of us at the ministry, we are celebrating it in a huge way. Poshan messages are being disseminated throughout the country. So earlier it used to be that the Anganwadi worker, when she used to go for the home visit, it used to be only your nutrition messages. Infant breastfeeding shuru kara, kab kara, complementary feeding kaise dena hai, right? Mother's ANC. Okay, antenatal care sahi se ho raha hai, vajan liya ki nahi hai, iron folic acid liya ki nahi. All these messages were there, but nothing about stimulating the child. Because nutrition is important, but the stimulation messages were missing. So now with the Navchetna document, at the ministry now we, I think all of you are aware that we have got a Poshan Tracker app. And that has got the award this year for the best technology for the Poshan Tracker award in the ministry. Right. Earlier we used to have a set of 12 registers in the Anganwadi centers, which was a huge work for the Anganwadi worker, day and night only filling up registers. But now out of the 12, 11 registers now are there in the Poshan Tracker itself. Through the mobile, she is able to fill all the information, and all the information about stunting, wasting, underweight, all these things are being automatically generated. And on the dashboard, if you open the dashboard also, you can see as on date, how many Anganwadi centers are there, how many centers are open. Even state-wise, they have given the admin. Even state-wise, you can identify which are the centers, how many children are underweight, how many are stunted. And for your kind information, I would like to share that by next month, ECCE indicators are also a part of Poshan Tracker. So in nutrition, stunting, wasting, and underweight, it's there. But now even the ECCE indicators, like for did she do ECCE activities, which were the developmental domains, what she did the activities, for how many hours she has done it, all those details. And that too, the Anganwadi worker will receive a prompt. If today आपके लिए क्या-क्या activity करना है, okay, she will read only the activity for that day. She will have a video also along with it. We are developing the videos also that this is the activity that she has to do it. So you can see how well, digitally we are making it so sound. And now the Poshan Tracker will be with both Poshan and Padhai, both the indicators together. That was about Navchetna. The second important document, which has created a lot of ripples around the country. Yeah, because, curriculum is the domain of the Education Ministry, but now Ministry of Women and Child Development, NIPSID, has come up with a national curriculum for children 3 to 6 years. Earlier, 2013, we had the ECCE policy. After that, states started on their own. Many states having their own contextualized curriculum and all that. We found that nothing was very similar, right? Sab kar rahe hain, but there is some need that, there is a contextualized curriculum for the entire country. So we have developed this Adhar Shila, which is your national curriculum for ECCE 2024 from 3 to 6 years. As I told, for 0 to 3 years, love, talk, and play is the basic principle whereby you teach children. Similarly, we have principles for 3 to 6 years also, where you have the important points like active listening, effective questioning, fostering independence, reading strategies, writing strategies, all of us know, and the ELPS approach for early maths, right? And SCAF, I won't go into details because all these are very theoretical. All of us are into the same background, scaffolding and gradual release of responsibility model. And the key characteristics of all these things is that, children get bored. Children get bored in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. They cannot continue more than that. So keeping that in mind, how do we make the learning joyful, meaningful, actively engaging, interacting, socially interactive? All these things are very, very important, which has to be kept in due consideration while making the curriculum. So play is the highest form of research. And if anybody asks me what was the best time of my life, I would certainly say that it was my childhood years, which was so very beautiful. And we don't realize that that is the biggest form of research what a child can have in life. Rest all is all, yes, it's all extension. That is only the key period of our life. Now the new ECCE curriculum, which we have devised for the 3 to 6 years, out of the 52 weeks in a year, this curriculum we have made it for 48 weeks total, because Anganwadi centers are open for 300 days in a year, right? So this curriculum we have made it for 48 weeks. The first 4 initiation weeks, we have kept a time for the child when the child will come from the home to the Anganwadi center. So, he or she will take some time to adjust in the Anganwadi center. So that is the initiation period, followed by 18 weeks of new skill development, which Adharshila is all about. What are the skills what we intend to give at the Anganwadi center, and followed by 8 weeks of learning reinforcement. So this is the key slide which we have prepared for entire 48 weeks of the curriculum. This is only week 1 what I have given to you. We have made 48 weeks of curriculum for the children at the Anganwadi centers, right? This is only 1 week where you can see that we have divided them into 3 parts, 3 blocks. First is the let's get started and let's play. Second is the main active period where the children will learn, and the final part. A total of 4 hours of ECCE intended for children in Anganwadi centers. We have prepared this entire curriculum. You can see that in the first 2 parts is let's get started, where the children come to the Anganwadi center. Immediately they greet to the Anganwadi worker. Then the Anganwadi worker, she will make a circle time with them. They will have some prayers. They will wash their hands and all that. They will play for some time, and then the active learning period starts, where you can see that we have started with let's weave wonders, let's explore, let's hear and talk, let's create, and let's appreciate. If you see these 5 components, they are all the 5 developmental domains. That in a day, all the 5 developmental domains are covered, and it is not through one activity that the child will get bored. Right? It could be through storytelling, it could be through writing, it could be through coloring, it could be through play or any other thing covering all these developmental domains. And the Saturday we have kept it as a free day so that the Anganwadi worker gets the time for preparation for the next week. And the child, they are also free on that day to have any kind of free play which they like, right? So that is kept that way. And under National Action Plan for Toys, which our Prime Minister has emphasized upon, there is a need for having to give importance on indigenous toys. Right? All the states or in our country, you will never find a country like ours in the entire world where we have so much variation in terms of toys also. If you see from Jammu and Kashmir till Kerala, you will have altogether different set of toys. And we need to popularize these toys under National Action Plan of Toys. And we have to popularize this in Anganwadi centers as well. So these are, you can see that we have all, niche jo toys dikh rahe hain aapko, hai na? These are all Indian toys, and everything which is Indianized and other things, very, very important. And you can see that in the Adharshila, we have tried to make all these activities inclusive for the Divyang child as well. Right? The same activity, if it is done, the same activity has to be done differently for 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and 5 to 6. All the 3 ages, if you see, it is very different. 3 years age child, you cannot compare him with a 5 years old child. Similarly, a Divyang child, all the activities have been tweaked. So first time in the country, I request all of you, please go through the document. Lot of efforts has gone into the document. Each activity has been tweaked 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, and also as per Divyang, what are the requirements. Also, a list has been given for the home learning activity because you have to take the community along with you. And in Anganwadi center, that is the biggest advantage. We have pregnant mothers coming in, we have lactating mothers coming in, right? We have Poshan Mela, we have Poshan Ma, we have Annapurna, that first Annaprashan event. So many events occurring together and all the community members assembling in one place. I think so that Anganwadi, you won't get an Anganwadi anywhere else in the world where you have so much of community participation and where everybody feels that this is ours, right? Such a place, it is very difficult to find. And the care component, which we all talk about, ECCE, early childhood care and education, I think so the care component is the biggest plus point of an Anganwadi as compared to schools. Care is what is the most precious thing which we all care about, and that is what impacts all of us. So schools are there, education is there, but what about the care? The Anganwadi Didi who is there, for handling nearly 30 children with 5 of them crying, 2 of them telling that I want to go to the toilet, right? 3 of them fighting with each other, but still one Anganwadi worker with a helper managing the entire show there. So I think so clapping for that, our Anganwadi workers who are doing such a wonderful job, right? 12th pass hui to kya hua? Yeah, Mike. Yeah, she's 12th pass, right? But early childhood care and education in the country, earlier we had joint families and children learned there and then and there itself from their siblings and others, right? So it's now time has come when we have to capacitate her, we have to handhold her. Education has to go along with the Anganwadi system so that already these Anganwadi centers which are in place, right, we give them little bit of more skills, we enhance skills so that they are all a part in this journey of national education policy and in this continuum of learning from 0 to 6 years. This is all how simple activities can lead to stronger connections. Child engages in activity, action happens in the brain, primary skills are developed, and higher order skills are developed. Similarly, if you see, one of the most important thing which a child loves is a block. This you can give it to even very, very small child till 6 years of any age. You can see the variations and the tweaks that block. How gradually they start building upon that block. And even if, it's only the block making, it's not only that, other senses are also involved. They touch the block, they see the color of the block, then they have their eye-hand coordination with the block. So all these things you can see across the year, how it develops into a pattern and how the child is in a learning process. Similarly, stories. Today morning itself, I was talking to Dr. Vasundhara about stories, right? How important are stories in our life? झूठ बोलना अच्छी बात नहीं है, right? सच बोलना चाहिए. If you tell this much to the child, nothing will, it won't hit him in any way. You tell him every day, क्यों झूठ बोल रहे हो? सच बोलो. It won't have an impact. But if the same thing, if you can explain him through a story, through an imaginative process, that that is impacting his brain so much, his neurons and his synapses by storytelling, which all of us, hum sab bade hue hain usi se, we all of us have grown up and we remember only those stories. That earlier those stories, the few fixed stories which are still there fresh in our mind, right? So storytelling is another very, very important component which has to be taken care of. Similarly, your songs and rhymes. बारिश आई छम 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 छाता लेके निकले हम, okay, something and they गिर गए हम. All those things are still so much there in our minds. those small messages and those small rhymes that have become our life. So we have got the Navchetna, we have got the Adhar Shila, and I'm proud that NIPSID is leading the Poshan Bhi Padhai Bhi initiative in the country for training of entire ICDS functionaries, starting from DPO, CDPO, supervisors, till Anganwadi workers in the entire country through a program which is called as Poshan Bhi Padhai Bhi. And this initiative, total 476 crore budget has been given by the IFD, Ministry of Finance, already released. States have got the money for the Anganwadi workers training. We have already initiated the program in May 2023. Honorable Minister, she had inaugurated the program. So 9 lakh Anganwadi centers impacting 8 crore children. So the objectives of Poshan Bhi Padhai Bhi, mainly holistic development of under 6 years, that nutrition and education cannot go separately. It is all about the same, both going together. Nurturing skills in the key developmental domains, integrating early childhood nutrition, and mainly to develop the basic understanding of the Anganwadi worker on the ECCE curriculum and pedagogical approaches, so that we enable to provide high quality placed ECCE to the last mile. So this is a huge target for which we have got 476 crore rupees for organizing Poshan Padhai Bhi across the country. This entire program we are carrying out in 2 tiers. First is state level master trainers, and the state level master trainers are CDPOs and DPOs. Right? If you see the hierarchy structure of ICDS, at the district level we have got DPOs, district program officers. So 785 districts in the country as of now. So 785 place. Then we have got ICDS projects. In 1975, we had started with 33 ICDS projects. And as of date, today we have 7,076 ICDS projects across the country, right? So from 33 projects to 7,076 projects. Each project is headed by a CDPO. So 7,076 CDPOs in place. And we have got a Kadi interpreter, the supervisors who are a connection between the CDPO and Anganwadi workers. For every 25 to 30 Anganwadi centers, we have got one supervisor. So nearly 56,000, right? And as I told you, we have 14 lakh Anganwadi centers. So 14 lakh Anganwadi workers, 14 lakh Anganwadi helpers. So very proud to be a part of the social biggest network program, integrated child development services in the country, which is not there across the world. In the world, you won't find such a big network program. So this first tier is we will be training 40,618 state level master trainers. These will be trained by NIPSID. And these master trainers, they will go to the field and they will be training the Anganwadi workers. So 2-tier approach of Poshan Bhi, Padhai Bhi. We have 3 days training for Anganwadi workers, 12 sessions, 40 plus activities, and entire curriculum is fixed. The videos, presentations, everything in all the languages, right, across the country. And we have got a dashboard also, pre-assessment, post-assessment, registration, everything being done online so that the dashboard keeps rolling. So this is the latest, right? Poshan Bhi Padhai Bhi dashboard that we have trained. At NIPSID is 15,748 till yesterday. We have got already trained the master trainers, right? DPOs, this thing, CDPOs, 2,203 supervisors, this many others. We have also kept a slot for others. This is, anybody who is interested, who is having interest in ECCE, we are keeping them as additional resource persons. So anybody from your college or anybody, they could also be a part of our additional resource team, so that whenever we go for the Anganwadi workers training, immediately, they will be a part of Poshan Bhi Padhai Bhi. Tier 2 is the Anganwadi workers training. Already we have started with the Anganwadi workers training. And on an average, we can see that there are 32 children in an Anganwadi, right? On an average, all India average, You may find somewhere it is very less, it may be 7 or 8 also, but at places it may be high also. So on an average, taking into account nearly 32 children per Anganwadi center, you can see that already we have impacted 576 children under Ocean Padhai. I think so that is a great achievement for all of us. I would also like to highlight the fact that in the latest economic survey, 23-24, Honorable Prime Minister has listed Ocean B, Padhai B as one of the prime agenda among the 12 major agenda for the country. ECCE has been highlighted as one of the key prime agenda. So I would like to congratulations to all of you. It is an achievement for all of us that ECCE has been kept on the highest agenda. Coming to one of the most important points, that is your inclusion of Divyang children or the specially abled children. Already our ministry has released this Anganwadi protocol for Divyang children, in which there is screening, including and referral process is given. Under Navchetna and Adharshila also, we have kept a provision for including Divyang children. And the internal committee which was formed during formation of Navchetna and Adharshila, we had members from health and family welfare, we had from DPWD, then we had from other civil society organizations, social justice and empowerment, so that we had all the representations from all line ministries. And finally, we have come up with a disability screening schedule. I think so. All of you are working with children with special this thing. So please refer our documents, both Navchetna and Adharshila. They have got the entire disability screening schedule which has been developed. It is a set of 21 questions, very, very simple questions which could be administered by the Anganwadi worker to identify at least what is the problem with the child and for further referral. We don't make it a fact that we don't think that she's a doctor or anything, to detect, but at least she can find out that what is the problem. And early detection is always better. So you can see that screening and inclusion and referral and follow-up, if there is any problem, she can refer it to the ANM, ASHA, or the RBSK team also from the health ministry, which comes for regular checkup quarterly to the Anganwadi center. And then they can further, go for the Swablaman portal or the UDID portal for further assistance. Okay, finally coming to the final slides, right? One of the key programs of the ministry is your Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Okay, so I thought I should not miss it. So we all know about the intergenerational cycle of malnutrition, and we understand that how gender bias, it is so much evident in our society. In spite of so much development, gender bias is still there. And we have this important program of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao to improve the child sex ratio in the country, right? So you can see this slide that how gender inequality can cause all these problems, right? Maternal undernutrition, low birth weight, your child could be stunted, right? And then this is all interlinked. From the adolescent girl to the mother to the child, it is all interlinked. So it is very important that gender concepts are built right at this stage, 0 to 6 years. So I think so this is a key slide where we can tell that advocating gender equality in the early years, very, very important, because this is the time when key foundations are formed. Discuss gender stereotypes in child. Let toys be toys. गुड़िया लड़कियों के लिए, गन लड़कों के लिए, not to do anything of this kind, right? Let toys be toys. Educate the child about the blue and the pink color stereotype, okay? So let's keep away from all that blue and pink. Avoid phrases like boys don't cry or girls are so good at helping. Usually बोलते हैं ना लड़के तुम लड़के होके रो रहे हो. And then that the crying वाला जो इतना important emotion है, those male people they miss out. Crying is very important for everybody. Okay, so we miss out on that. So this all has to be taken care of. Encourage boys and girls to play together. Make the children comfortable about how they feel. Allow them to express themselves. Target your kids as a human being. Be a role model. let them do what they enjoy, and for all these things, बच्चों को तो बाद में सिखाएंगे, खुद आप खुद तो सीख ही जाए. To talk about gender is very easy, but when it comes to your own home, practice doesn't happen. You preach in your school, college, at your institute, but when you go to home, again you are back in that, right? So this will take time. Actually, in United Nations, they have conducted a survey and they have told that India will take nearly 150 years more to understand this gender inequality thing. So much deep entrenched patriarchal this thing is entrenched in our society that we need 150 more years, to understand this. So here all of you are there, students. What do you think about gender? Yes. What are the various activities you do for gender sensitization? Any activities anybody would like to say? Okay. You can have more of seminars, you can have more of talk about this. We don't talk usually. And yes, please. Okay. That's good. More of gender activity is very much necessary. Okay, just for your information that Maharashtra, you have more than 1 lakh Anganwadi centers, right? 550 ICDS projects. That means you have 550 CDPOs, 4,000 supervisors, 364 ICDS projects in rural areas, 85 in tribal areas, and 104 in urban slum areas. This is the areas where all of you can pitch into, especially the urban slum areas, which more of research, more of action-oriented research can be taken up in these urban slums of Anganwadis in urban slums of Maharashtra. Already Maharashtra is doing very good. When you see WCD Maharashtra, they're doing a lot of work, and they have got the AAA model, which is your Akar, Ankur, and Arambh. This is being practiced in Maharashtra. The Akar is the child-centric preschool education curriculum framework, activity-based learning that focuses on the child's minds and stages of development at the center. Arambh is the initiative by ICDS Maharashtra in partnership with Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Medical Sciences, Sevagram. And Ankur is facilitating child development 3 to 6 years by increased involvement of parents and responsive caregiving, joyful experience through appropriate activities. So already these 3 models are in place. We have already started SLMT training on Poshan Bhi Padhai Bhi for Maharashtra as well. Now it is, main thing is that we need support from the entire country for the Anganwadi workers training. And it is more than 1 lakh Anganwadi workers training. Or maybe, from your institute, we could have additional resource persons who could support us in Poshan Bhi Padhai Bhi. You can see the highlight of Akar, Aram and Ankur going on in Maharashtra. Talking about both Poshan and Padhai. Their school readiness instrument SRI, a Balwatika program is already going on in Maharashtra. There is an inter-departmental convergence with child-friendly Gram Panchayats. Tarang Suposhit Maharashtra, they have got a helpline number also. I hope all of you are aware of it. Right, there's a helpline number also for this. All of you, please go through this. I have this presentation here. All of you can go through the slides. So, as talked upon by our Honorable Minister, Viksit Bharat की जहाँ बात हो रही है, 2047 की बात हो रही है, the youngest population cannot be left out, but they have to be the first priority so that we build a strong foundation. And Amrit Kal की जो the sapna dekha hai hamare Modi ji ne, I think so we will all fill up together, all the stakeholders here. One kadi banate hain, kadi banate chalenge, kadam se kadam mila ke chalenge, and then you see how the nation will progress. पढ़ाई के साथ पोषण करेगा देश रोशन, पोषण भी पढ़ाई भी. Thank you.
think we should give one more round of applause to Dr. Rita Patnaik. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words of wisdom. You highlighted a lot of things today in your speech about Navtika, Adharshila, Balvatika, Anganwadis, a lot of things that our students may not be aware. I think they will go and definitely search about these things after they go home. You also highlighted a lot of things that we as a teacher training institute, special educators over here, we do a lot of things in our curriculum. When you talked about developmental milestones, play based therapies, play based learning, integrating rhymes. I think that is one thing that from the start we have been highlighting for our students. You also highlighted about responsive caregiving and how the role of a mother is. Thank you so much, ma'am, for highlighting all these points to us. It was a great takeaway. I'm sure the students over here have noted down the points. They will go and see the National Repository for Toys on the NIPSIT website. It will definitely help all the teacher training, special education students, and counseling students, and the other students who are here to plan activities for the preschool children, to help them if they are having some physical disability or learning disability, to counsel them and also to teach them. Thank you again, ma'am. I would now call upon Miss Lakshmi Shivkumar, Coordinator and Faculty of Teacher Training Programs, to propose the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Multi. Good afternoon, everyone. As we bring the 25th Ram Joshi Memorial Lecture to a close, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you present here for your support. It is with deep reverence and a profound sense of gratitude that we conclude the 25th Ram Joshi Memorial Lecture today. This event would not have been possible without the support and presence of each and every one of you here. We extend our heartfelt thanks to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Rita Patnaik, for gracing the occasion with your wisdom and insights by way of your memorial lecture on the topic, Building Strong Foundations, Early Childhood Care and Education in India. I really would like to draw upon the concluding statements because the rest of it has already been spoken by my colleague and friend, Ms. Bhakti Gala. She said that the youngest people should not be left out because after her listening to her, we all are sure that the government is also doing a lot through several missions that it has undertaken for the foundational years. And she highlighted the importance of nutrition right from conception and the brain development aspect. And her lecture has been indeed an illuminating tribute to the memory of Professor Dr. Ram Joshi, whose legacy continues to inspire us all. Your efforts have not only honored Professor Ram Joshi's memory, but also enriched our intellectual discourse. Special thanks to Shri S.V. Venkatraman sir, for Vishwanathan sir, for gracing the memorial lecture and being part of the event with us today. Our managing council members, Sri Ganesh, Sri S.V. Vishwanathan, and our purchase department head, Venkat sir, for gracing the occasion. Thank you for being with us today. Gratitude to the members of the Ram Joshi family, Ms. Anupama and Sri Vidyanand Joshi, and the family watching on YouTube. We do really appreciate that you're here with us every year and do really miss Mrs. Joshi today. Our principal, Dr. Uma Shankar has been a pillar of strength and support. Thank you, ma'am, for everything. We extend our thanks to the vice principals and staff members of our college and our sister institutions. Esteemed guests, Professor Ms. Asha Menon, ma'am, the principal of SNDT, for having conceded to our invite and being here with us today. Special invitees from several other educational institutions who've taken the time out and been here to listen to this enlightening lecture, and all our viewers on YouTube. Thank you, everyone. We thank our registrar, Sri Raghavendra sir, for his support to this program as always. We are also very grateful to all our support staff who have helped us for the smooth conduct of the event. A special mention must be made to the organizing committee for their efforts and planning, which has led to the success and seamless execution of today's event. Thank you to my dear students who took several responsibilities and seamlessly helped us with setting up of the teaching aid exhibition, making the rolling board, and several tasks which happened behind the scenes. To the faculty members, students, and attendees, your presence here today is a testament to the enduring impact that Professor Dr. Ram Joshi has left for all of us. Here, I would like to quote: the true measure of success lies not in personal achievements, but in the positive impact we have on the lives of others. A statement which is testimony to the remarkable impression left by Professor Dr. Ram Joshi, the Vice Chancellor who was the Vice Chancellor at the University of Mumbai and also has been a principal at SIES. Thank you for being a part of this commemorative event, each and every one of you. As we leave here today, let us carry forward the ideas and vision that Professor Joshi stood for, and may his legacy continue to guide and inspire us in our pursuit for knowledge and excellence. And each of us also, let's take on the beacon of spreading the impact of the early years to our future life, because what happens in the foundational years cannot be compared, as ma'am said, to what happens much later, because we always speak only about academic success. Once again, thank you to each and every one of you for being a part of today's event. May we all now rise for the national anthem.
जन मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Bharat Mata ki. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I would request only the first year and second year teacher training students, all the students of ICE, to please wait back. The others may proceed outside the venue.